This video contains light spoilers for the Unmove and Autumn arcs of Yoshifumi Tozuka's Undead Unluck manga and anime. If you want to avoid spoilers, click off this video, go read or watch those arcs, and then come back here. Thanks. Hello again, I'm back with another video, designing magic cards for Undead Unluck characters. Today we'll be starting with Top. Top is a 2/1 legendary human who costs 1 red mana to cast and has haste and can only be blocked by other creatures that have haste. Top is a classic speedster character, though he has the drawback that he has to hurt himself in order to stop his momentum. In order to capture this drawback on the card, I force Top to attack each turn, and with only 1 toughness, Top would normally be very vulnerable to any blockers if he didn't also have that evasive ability. Still, a player can use spells to try to get rid of Top, and while Top is strong in the early game, he'll have to hit the opponent many times or be buffed in some way to actually reduce an opponent to 0 life on his own. Top is a perfect aggressive strategy card that uses hasty creatures and burn and buff spells like Monastery Swift Spear, Lightning Greaves, Lightning Bolt, and Maximize Velocity. Next up we have Chikara. Chikara is a legendary 1/1 human in Azorius colors with a pretty simple ability. You may choose not to untap Chikara during your untap step, and you can tap Chikara to tap something else, and that other permanent can't untap as long as Chikara is tapped. This is one of the simplest Undead Unluck negation abilities to translate into Magic, as Chikara's Unmove ability works basically the same in the manga as this card does. So long as Chikara doesn't move, the opponents he's looking at can't move either. Protect Chikara with counterspells or cards like Curator's Ward and Brotherhood Regalia to keep him safe on the battlefield while he locks things down. Our last uncommon in this group is Rip Unrepair. Rip is an antagonist introduced in the Unmove arc, and he has the power of Unrepair, which means that any injuries he inflicts can't be healed. In Magic, damage is usually taken away during the cleanup step, except in the case of abilities that deal damage in -1/-1 counters such as Wither, which is what I chose to give Rip on this card to represent his ability. Rip is also shown to be quick and deadly with his blades, so I chose to give him First Strike to make him an even scarier combatant, and for extra pressure on your opponent, he shuts off any life gain effects they might have. For our first rare of the set, we have Juice, Injustice, the leader of the Union. Juice is a legendary human knight that can be cast for 2 white, 1 red, and 1 generic mana. She is a 4/4 creature with Vigilance and the ability Tap. Target creature deals damage to itself equal to its power. Injustice is a somewhat complicated ability that, similar to Shen's, makes opponents act against their own interests. There are a few cards in Magic that make creatures attack themselves or their allies, so I took that ability for Juice, but to my knowledge she's the only creature in Magic that can repeatedly use this effect, which makes for a very interesting potential commander. You could build around Juice using buff spells to make your creatures better fighters, or even buff your opponent's creature's power, only to use that power against them with Juice's tap ability. Or you could incorporate untap effects to use Juice's ability multiple times in 1 round. However, I do believe that the card Justice Strike should be an auto-include for any deck with Juice in it. Next, we have our second Yuma card, Autumn. Autumn, Intrusive Eyes, is a 3/5 legendary incarnation, played for 5 mana in Simic colors. Autumn has Flying, Ward 2, and whenever Autumn deals combat damage to a player, you get to look at that player's hand. Autumn is a pretty simple card mechanically, but I think it reflects the flavor of the source material well. Autumn isn't the most interesting of these season-themed Yumas, but their ability to turn anything they scratch into a book is pretty unique, and I think the combat damage effect captures that idea pretty well. So you're reading your opponent's hand just as you would a book. The Ward ability reflects how heavily armored Autumn is as well, and the Flying, of course, references the levitation that she has. Finally, we have our Mythic card for this set, the one and only Akira Tendo, also known as Ano-un, with the Unknown Negator ability. Ano-un is a simple 1/1 legendary human bard for 2 red and 2 blue mana. Akira has Shroud and Phasing, meaning it is basically impossible to target them in any way. All of this would make them a pretty awful card if not for the fact that Akira has a ATB effect where you get an omniscience effect until end of turn. This conflict between a busted ability on a useless, untargetable creature perfectly captures the power that Ano-Un wields while also being unable to interact with the world or be noticed in any way. Ano-Un can be used in conjunction with all sorts of busted powerful cards in Magic, from Cyclonic Rift and Chaos Warp to Ancestral Recall. Normally, cards with powerful ETB effects could be blinked with blue spells or copied with red and blue spells, but the Shroud ability on Ano-Un makes this difficult to accomplish. Therefore, the most straightforward way to use this card is simply to use it carefully at the proper moment in the game to get the maximum value out of it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Which of these custom cards was your favorite? What should I design next? Let me know in the comments below.